with me. Let me try to explain. Think about the days when you thought magic was real. When your uncle's card trick was pure wizardry, dandelions really granted wishes, and there really was a U.S. Mint manufacturing quarters behind your ear. But think about that time you found buried treasure. You were digging through the beach, searching for sand perfectly packed to fortify your fortress, and there, amidst the broken reeds and cigarette butts, a penny emerged shining among the dunes. You pocketed it and told no one. Remember that time when the girl your third grade heart swore you loved said she'd tell everyone she kissed you if you just left her alone for a day? You never kept that promise. Or years later when the girl your 8th grade heart knew you loved actually kissed you. Now think hard. Think of that one thing. I know you know which thing I'm talking about. It's that thing that you never told anyone in your entire life, just so you would have one secret to keep for yourself. Now have you got those thoughts together? Take them all, bunch them into a ball, squeeze them until the purest essence of the emotions they represent drips out. Take these feelings of wonder and of love and of eager and of naive and innocence and rig it into a shot glass. Hold it high in the air and I'll do the same, but don't you dare give our concoction a name. Now before you throw it back, look me in the eye and scream the names of 2 places you belong right now. Here, here. Hooray, yay. I'm gonna do some new stuff, and they're all new to you, I guess, but new to me too. It's actually a series of 2 poems, technically letters. The collection is called a back and forth of simultaneous self-discovery. And I'll let you figure out who the characters are. First letter. Dear Bruce, I'm writing you this letter not because I'm afraid to tell you what's on my mind to your face, but rather because I'm not really sure which face is yours. I'm not even sure where to find you. I've been all over this city looking for you, cleaning your mess along the way, hiding behind a cowl to keep this mystery hidden from those who don't deserve its answer. They say you're strong, you're smart, and crippled with thoughts of revenge. They say we have a lot in common. It's strange we've never been in the same room. I think we'd have a lot to talk about. While you're safe in your mansion and your penthouse, I've been down here on the streets. A lot of your neighbors are here too if you just look. It's so dirty here. Now, I did a good job with hiring more street sweepers to make the place tidy, but it's never clean. In my attempt to cleanse the scum from the gutters one criminal at a time, I've learned something you never could. The only difference between you, me, the woman losing her purse, and the dirtbag I had to beat up for snatching it, is what kind of makeup they were wearing. Gotham is poisonous. You can vaccinate yourself and your family's leftover wealth, or you can cure it with a needle and whatever the costume freaks are peddling in the alleys. After I bust them, I sometimes wish I could keep some of that for myself. I wish I could take the sting of Gotham's lost hope and replace it with the burn of laughing gas, melted in a comically large spoon and shot with a syringe covered in smiley faces. When you ask me, why so serious? Sometimes I don't have an answer other than because I need to be. I feel like I'm just a creation of just some rich guy daydreaming in his office, one who always wished he was a superhero, but the cape never fit him right, one who's powerful enough to demand change, but too cowardly to don the cowl himself. Bruce, have you ever felt like you don't exist? Have you ever felt like you're the only here because it's convenient? Like your existence is so unimportant that you don't even get to go out during the day, but so crucial that if you were to disappear back into the cave from which you were fabricated, society that you know, that you hate, that you feel so responsible to help, will crumble away into its own head, laughing uncontrollably. I understand why it has to be this way. I mean, look at you. You're a genius with an imaginary friend, infinite access to advanced technology, and enough unevenly distributed wealth to drive an entire city into class warfare, petty crime, and jokers with face-painted gangs. Bruce, if we ever met, I'd be forced to kick your ass and lock you up with the rest of the clowns. I'm the hero you created, because you need me, not because you deserve me. Ever watchful, B. From the desk of Bruce Wayne, CEO, Wayne Enterprises, to whom it may concern. I'm returning your letter not because I feel the need to address your concerns as an underappreciated vigilante. It's obvious to me and the city you try to protect that you're just as crazy as the ones you fight. Your costume and fake voice seem powerless against the rising crime wave we've been experiencing for years, and only seems to up the criminals' ante. The crazier their gimmicks get, the crazier you get. The only difference between you and the dirtbags with face paint you fight every night is the fact that you win most of the fights. This is not a letter of apology or confession or whatever else you were hoping to get out of me. I assure you, this is a letter of pity. I'm so sorry that you feel so burdened with the burdens of Gotham. I'm sorry your existence begins and ends with the worst events of any particular night. If I could buy you peace of mind, I doubt you'd take it. When my father was taken from me, I was recreated in his image. They so desperately wanted me to fill the roles that he left behind, all 7.2 billion of them, but I still look ridiculous wearing his suit. I'm still a kid who wants to go play outside, but I have a lot more in common with his three-piece suit than the name embroidered onto it. We were both tailored to make him look good. Do I ever feel like I don't exist? I spent 8 years living in my parents' success. My butler was my father and my mother. My friends were only interested in my toys. Strangers weren't interested in my father's job title or my mother's charities and clearly didn't care about the stories of their life. When the gun came out, it was their life he settled for when the wallet wasn't presented fast enough. They left me orphaned and alone in the street and no one cares. So do I ever feel like I don't exist? No. But if only. I'm the mental projection of a superhero trying to stay out of the daylight for fear of retaliation by the ones who got what they deserved. I'm the presidential puppet of a company that most people blame for their problems. I'm the son my parents never noticed, the orphan my butler never asked for, the replacement my father wasn't finished shaping. I'm the traitorous friend Harvey doesn't deserve. I'm the coward Rachel would have settled for. I'm the most powerful man in Gotham, yet I feel so helpless every time I see your light in the sky. My inheritance can never buy me a way out of this, so I daydream about people who take a stand to make things right. I don't necessarily admire the things you do, but I always respect those who take action. I'd like to invite you to Wayne Manor. We can discuss our endeavors, and if you say you need to kick my ass and lock me up, please do. If you can save this town at all, I consider that a victory. Regards, B. Wayne, CEO, Wayne Enterprises. The guy's crazy. All right, I'll do one more good thing up here. It is really 42, but I don't care. This is called Memorized Poem. I haven't memorized it. That's why I'm reading it. It's actually based off a writing prompt. The general idea that the prompt that eventually brought me to was I'm afraid that people memorize my poems faster than I do. And the last time I was reading here, I had a piece that I kind of choked in the middle of. And my girlfriend, who was on like the other side of the place, she's like, "This is the line." I'm like, "Oh, right," because she knows it and I don't. So this is about memorizing poems. I'm reading some old stuff tonight. It's the poem I've been reading at open mics every week, twice a week, for 3 months. I've slammed with it 6 times this week. Edited and re-edited and read off of this iPad every single time, trying very hard to commit it to memory. You said you liked it. You always say you like it. It's so choreographed now. You know every word, understand every metaphor, and mimic every gesture. And I know just where you'll give an appreciative woo and a snap. It's even stopped being odd when you mouth the words alone from memory, when I start to read it from the iPad screen. It's become part of the act. When I can't read my own typos, I know I can count on you to finish the line. You may even say with better conviction that I know I can. I finally wrote something new. I was so scared we'd have to learn this dance all over again. The steps are out of line and you're still mouthing my old poem. Not noticing the difference. We're out of sync. The styles have shuffled. The new rhythm layered on top of the old is clashing out of tune. There once was a man from Nantucket. 7 syllables go here. Violets are blue. And the new piece is finished. The last line had more heart in it than I ever thought possible, but you weren't done reciting my old poem yet. I'd already been off the stage for 5 whole minutes before you applauded. So they call me Jason Portizo. There's a book of, I guess you can call it poetry. It's haiku. On a very technical level, it's poetry. Whether it's actually poetic is up to you. And for $10, you can figure out for yourself and let me know. If it's successful, we might do a round 2. But another author in the book, we got Ink, who's still over there for some reason. Oh, there we go. Hey, Ink, go.
So I want to give a big thank you to Be Continued Books for having us out here for the Junebug Arts Fest. It's been awesome reading actually out there in the rain and watching people go by and look at poets like they're weirdos, because we are. I totally had this planned ever since I saw the forecast for today, so this poem is called Rainy Day Afternoon. All lies. Afternoon clouds stole the sun from earthly eyes, thrust it deep into dark gray wool pockets, and replaced it with temporary fissures, light, jagged, and urgent, like the SOS escaping clasped human hands, encaging a terrified lightning bug. That's it. Short, lovely little descriptive poem. This one's a longer descriptive poem, and one that was inspired because I take the New Jersey Northeast Corridor, which runs from New York to Central Jersey, ends up in Trenton. Fell asleep halfway, ended up in Trenton instead of my regular stop, but there was a moth that came in at Penn Station that also flew out with me in Trenton. I just thought, my God, how are you ever going to find your way home? This poem is derailed by the Northeast Corridor. What does the wandering moth wonder, fluttering about the Trenton platform, escaped from the silver box that swept it so far from the bowels of Penn Station? When the conductors yell all clear, shut the train down for its shallow night's sleep, do the streetlights opposite the platform lose a partner in conversation mid-hum? Is the dying breath of the train's interior illumination what the moth carries to the street lamps across the empty platform when the electric track stops singing? Why is the moth so angry? Is the lamp not listening? Or is the moth using hard-headed repetition to remember the message from the train cars before sunlight signals the lamp's extinction? How long is the moth's memory? Until daylight? How does it resist being distracted by a conversation with the sun? How many moths in dawn are lost to incinerate the horizon, trying? Let's see. Who here likes drinking? All right. 2 poems sort of about drinking. The first is actually about love. I'm sorry.
It's called... Comes with it. Yeah. It's on, too. Then we're set.
No.
Are you sure?
No. Stopped at a DUI checkpoint. I swear, officer, I didn't feel drunk until she said I love you. After that, I was already caught up in the flow of traffic, watching dashed straight lines warp in flashes of amber misdirection, poems written in Morse code as signaled from car to passing car by those fighting traffic, with the belief that straight lines could never get them anywhere they wanted to go. And this one is a little more fun. This is called Livers for Poems program. Regenerative friend, giving tree to greedy me. They probably sell the giving tree right back in the children's section. It is a must-have for your child and yourself if you do not have it. I'll swap you a bottle of Cabernet for a couple of stanzas, a few glasses of Haitian rum for a stumbling muse, even a night of absinthe for missing memories, but please, let there be poems encrypted in the drool stains of my encrusted pillow when I wake. I want to be a card-carrying member with access to the same muse library as Bukowski and Hemingway, Lee Poe and Basho, all under the roof of the house Jack built, sheltered from the dampening rains of inhibitive logic. I want my moonshine muse unfiltered, unregulated, as scary as the midweek beer-goggled take-home prize, the vomit of realization, the first lay the morning after. May the first 3 hits from what's ever left on the bedside table, blinding as dawn, destroy my various cells, and through the law of matter, the whims of gods, Grant me a line, a saving grace, a word, inspiration. Please give a warm round of applause for Jason Portizo.
Think I can do a little better? Yeah. All right. I mean, I just want to sum up my book, basically. I just, real quick, Oh, okay, that's cool. No, that's cool. Hello, everybody. Oh my gosh. Sorry. I want to talk about my book called The Flea Marketeer. I am a poet also. I found some poetry buried today, as a matter of fact, because I heard about this wonderful poetry reading, and I put it to the side. I buried it in a box when I moved out of Metuchen, and it hasn't been touched for 4 years, and I actually got to looking at it for a period of time today, and I realized how much I enjoyed it, and I'll go back to that. But anyway, in regard to the Flea Marketeer, the Flea Marketeer itself is an urban suspense. It's about a guy who's down on his luck, who has no money. He lives as a squatter in the city, in Alphabet City, and basically he lives by selling his wares day to day. He picks them up here, picks them up there, sometimes at auction, and he's on the edge of society. He's lost his fiancée to drugs, and she died from an overdose, so he ended up being a squatter. Regardless, he picks up a safe at auction that's lost its combination, and he decides to break into it. He has no money, so he's looking for money. He's looking for anything to make him some cash, and he gets this safe, and he breaks it open. He finds a lot of cash, which is great, but he also finds a stone, and in the stone itself, he believes it's worth something. He's very good with understanding people and seeing people's reactions and understanding people's reactions. So he's a street smart guy, and what he does is he goes down to 47th Street. He decides to get this appraised. And when he goes to get it appraised, he walks into the wrong store with a guy who's connected, and they want to kill him for what he has. So it takes place all around New York City. It goes from downtown to uptown to midtown, from rich to poor. Basically, the story itself is really about class conflict and how people that have no money, who need to get by day to day, are judged from first look. And when it comes to rich and powerful people, how they can take advantage of that, and how people can judge by first look. And usually a lot of people do that. The majority of people do that. First minute, I think they establish who somebody is by the way they're dressed, by the way they look, by the way they act. So this is really kind of about that. But essentially, it's an urban suspense, and it discusses this character, Randall Bex, who's lost. He wanted to stay distanced from love because he was so involved with this woman who committed suicide that he didn't think he could go back there again. And he finds a woman who in a shopping center when he's getting food that he's greatly attracted to, and she's very rich, very wealthy, has a very powerful position. And he very much looks at himself, because he's a squatter, as somebody not even worthy of her attention. So he has to try and fix that also. So basically, in the story itself, he gets intermixed with all these thoughts and these processes, and in the end, he has to decide what's more important to him, the money or the love. And that's what the book is essentially about. I'm not going to tell you the end, because that's why you got to buy it. You got to buy my book to find out the ending. But the comedy is another thing. We do have a little comic element in there. So, really, we all face different issues with life and how it goes on and how people judge you and that type of thing. And I came out with this is a self-published book. I wanted people to know that there is hope out there, especially with the economic downturn. People need to have hope. There was a lot of people that were without their jobs, even people that had a lot of money, they lost their jobs, and they were fighting to get money to pay for their mortgage and all that type of thing. So when I came out with it, the essential purpose was to, if it gave one person hope out there, when they read it and they said, well, you know what, this could be me, that type of thing, then if it helped one person, then to me it was a success. So in that element, I could do a reading, that type of thing, but I almost feel like going back to the poetry, because I really started reading some poetry earlier, and I really enjoyed it. But buy my book. It's important. Come on, guys. You gotta buy my book. No. Anyway, I would like to read one or two pieces of poetry, which is totally off this subject, but I go backwards and forwards between things because, those creative people. So, anyway, thanks. This compilation I did years ago. It was paired off with a painter friend of mine who's now in his 80s, a very talented guy, and basically he painted the way that I wrote. And what I did was I assembled a manuscript with his paintings representing my poetry. And I tried to sell it out in Ohio, and basically I made 20 manuscripts by hand, along with the pictures, that type of thing, and I kept them to the side. But it was called Hardship, and it was all about different issues, concerning that type of thing. So I wanted to read maybe two pieces of poetry. The first one is called Obligatory Small Talk. I see you in hopes you won't see me, my vision clear. Clarity in my conscious mind is not continuous, then you appear with all thoughts of yesterday, last night, a drain on my free-thinking style, a cork that seals an overflowing bottle, one that must fill pages with cleansing words. Noticed I must smile and nod in your presence, your lips move, my ears pick up a word now and again, brains take on their own patterns, distance removed. Your words creep in like a disease, invading the space I reserve for my imagination, taking from me my need, throwing me into turmoil of unexpected strength. You ask me for my thoughts, and all I can say is obligatory small talk. Rude, you say, obnoxious in too many ways. Can one be silent without offending anyone? Dismiss me if I don't acknowledge your existence. The sparks of static electricity occur when I'm alone. Contemplating life's complexities, they make me draw into myself, protect me from scaled walls. I'm not always intent to listen. I'm not always full of grandiose words. So accept my obnoxious behavior, and maybe I'll accept you. Obligatory small talk. And this one's woodwork. This is one of my favorite poems. It's really about those people that you meet in passing chance, sometimes at bars. For me, it's a lot at bars. Although a lot less frequently. Anyway, woodwork. The guy you'll never know sits beside you. He says interesting things, has big dreams, but he's just another guy, alone. He looks for someone to believe in him. He searches endlessly, sidetracked by everyday life. He sits, drinks, thinks, and lives in a place only he can dream. He's the guy you'll never know. He sits next to you, talks in a grand way, because he believes one day his life will mean something. And here you unknowingly bear witness to something. He's the forgotten conversation, the structure behind skyscrapers, an ordinary guy, a dreamer, a man who sees his life as a wheel which helps others turn. Sometimes he loses sight, but there are always others to guide him back to the guy who will always be the guy sitting next to you. That's it. Thank you. That's enough for me. Thanks, guys.